Ready?
He's staring at his camera.
I see.
I don't know. He don't look ready.
All right, I see live on. Hey, everybody.
Right on.
Hey.
Right arm.
Shall we just jump into it?
Why not?
What a horrible night to have a curse today on. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Press B to Cancel. I am hosting today, and I am joined by the ever wonderful Sinstress.
Yay! Hi.
Her okay husband, Sinistar.
Yeah, that's a tall, it's a tall order.
And the even more okay Charred Monk.
Hi, I'm also okay. But I'm
We'd
more
be
okay.
better, except we've been playing a game that's it really takes it out of you.
It's an addiction.
It
sucks your life
time
away.
suck. It's an energy suck. And the entire goal is to survive vampires.
I was gonna say, you would almost consider it to be vampiric.
Yes, I would. I want my last few weeks back.
I looked at it, and while there are bat creatures, there is technically not a single vampire in the game.
Not that I've seen.
Not?
No.
Not that I've seen.
There's a number of coffins.
There are.
True.
With things in them, yes. How spoiler are we getting into this?
I figured we'd give a spoiler warning a little while in, but let's give a non-spoiler intro.
Yeah. So for anybody curious what Vampire Survivors is, I would like to preface this by being by making it aware that I was informed of this game about a year ago while it was still in early access. A friend of mine who lives on the East Coast sent it to me and another friend of mine, and he recommended it. And I watched a video on it, and I was like, that looks like a lot in terms of what's happening on screen. I'll pass. And my other friend said the same thing. And then some months later, it popped up again with you guys. And I was like, what the hell? This is that game that I was like, no, because it's Diarrhea Christmas Lights. There's just so much happening on screen. And when I first saw this, I got vibes of an old game from Xbox Live Arcade called I Made a Game with Zombies in It. And
wow.
it garnered some attention, nowhere near the level that Vampire Survivors has, but it got some attention. I think I saw articles about it on Rock Paper Shotgun and things like that. But I was like, no, that's not my type of game, because it's literally there's just waves of enemies hurled at you constantly, and the goal is to survive. Just last as long as you can without dying. And there is hard cap on that in this game. Depending on the stage, the cap has changed. But in general, it's roughly 30 minutes to beat the stage. And I think if you can overcome what it throws at you after that, you actually truly beat the stage and you get extra goodies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny because I haven't done that part in a long time. Well, that's not true. I just don't do it as often as I used to at the beginning. But digressing a little bit, the simple idea is imagine Robotron 2084, if you're familiar with that old gem, except there's just enemies constant, and you get upgrades while you're playing. Major upgrades to your character's stats, weapons, new weapons, combinations of weapons, things like that. So it's all over the board until you hit a certain point where you kind of decide, this is what I like to play with, and you go for that most of the time.
Yeah.
So let me pass it off to you guys. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So I was I was told by one of my viewers about how addictive this game is. Speaking of addiction,
Speaking of addiction.
how addictive this game actually was, and it was gifted to me by a viewer, and it was like $3. I mean, it wasn't.
I have one guess as to who that is. Sorry to interject.
No, it was.
Oh, really?
He goes by the Gaming Chef, and it was just random. Like it wasn't the normal person that does it. Well, I'm looking.
Okay.
It was just like Tigerly talked about it like ad nauseum, and she kept talking about it being. She goes, "It's the game of the year. It's the game of the year," and all this other stuff. And we always joke about what game of the year is going to be. And I fired it up. I said, "Let's just see what this whole thing is about." So I fire it up, right? And I can't do anything. I just walk. It's only walking, walking simulator.
Yeah, you
and I'm
press
like,
buttons. You're like, what the hell's this?
yeah, I'm like, how do I attack? And it's just attacking. Like I got the whip dude, right? The Belmont looking dude. And it's just and I'm like
slow as hell.
And it's slow. And things are just coming at me, and I'm like, okay, so I'm pressing the using the keypad, the numbers or whatever. And I die. I'm like, this is dumb. This is stupid. Why? I played it for 15 minutes and was like, no, I bounced off of it real hard. And I just kind of put it away. And everybody's just ranting and raving about this damn game. And I'm like, it's a walking simulator. Who gives a crap, right? So I think it was in my office weeks later. And I was doing something. I don't know what I was doing. My parents were visiting at the time. And I went, let's try this again. Maybe I just wasn't in the mindset. So I tried again, knowing what I'm getting into. And I fired up and I play the dude. And it's the forest level to start. And the next thing you know, it's been 2 goddamn hours. And I died 20 times. And I was like, and my parents were like, are we going to dinner or what? Like, it's been in here forever. You said you were coming in here to get something. It's
just one more. Just one more.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, we'll go. So I left, and then I don't think I've played it up to that point until I was brought in to press B to cancel. And then Jake was just like, bruh. And of course, Vaughn's just bruh. So I got bruh and bruh from Canada and the East Coast telling me, play this game. Just play it and give it a shot. And then my Steam Deck came in, and I went, well, there goes my life. And I fired it up, and then I played it for 4 hours. And I found myself after that. I found myself coming home from work and firing it up, especially now that I had the Steam Deck. I would come home and I'd sit on the couch and I just fire this thing up and start playing it on here. And there was a point where I got home from work early because we had a short day, and I was in here and I was going to play Cyberpunk, and I was like, no, I'm not really in the mood to focus on that. I'll play Red Dead Redemption. No, that's too heavy. I don't want to play that. I'll work on some videos. Nah, I don't have the focus for that. I went out on my couch and I played this for 6 hours on my couch on my Steam Deck because it's low power, so it doesn't suck the battery life out of Steam like literally everything else does. And I was like Wolf said, at first you know what you're doing, so they're giving you upgrades, and I don't read the instructions for games. I just don't.
You don't say.
You're right. Well, if I build an IKEA shelf, I will read the instructions verbatim. If I'm building a plane, I will read the instructions verbatim. If I'm playing a game, I don't give a shit, and I'm just gonna figure out what happens. And it's because I'm dying. I'm not killing anybody else with this IKEA shelf that I made, or made, as it were. And finally, once I started reading it, and I went into some wikis, and I went into some other things, and I started deep diving, and I lost myself. I went into a rabbit hole so goddamn deep, and I had just been playing it. And like Wolf, now that Wolf, well, you can always tell when somebody first gets Vampire Survivors if you were friends with them on Steam, because every 30 minutes you get boop, this person's playing Vampire Survivors, boop, this person's playing Vampire Survivors. So when Sinistar and I both got our Steam Decks at the same time, I saw his name, and then like a week later, Sinistress's name started popping up, and now Wolf's name's popping up. It's making its rounds, but it's it's an addictive and fun, and it's cool to make the builds. And now that there's because you make builds, you do builds
Mhm.
throughout the game. So when you can strategize better, because it doesn't look like there's any strategy to it. You're just like, I'll just upgrade this shit. But there really is.
Yeah.
There's a plan, and you could plan it out before you start and then go from there. And there's like 30 something characters or some shit. There's all kinds of
Probably more
different
than that.
options. There's tons of things in this game. I didn't believe how deep it went. I thought Jake was just pulling my leg when he's like, yo, this thing's pretty deep. And I'm like, bro, it's not like Tunic deep. And he goes, it may be deeper. And I went, what? And then here we are addicted to Vampire Survivors. Hello, my name is Chard Monk, and I've been 3 weeks clean from Vampire Survivors.
You know, I have to call out that every time Jake makes a recommendation and he says some magical phrase, like with Tunic, like the manual's the thing. The manual's the thing. And you're like, whatever. Like, I'm looking at this. I've got 2 pages of this manual. It makes no sense to me. It's not even in English. Like,
Fucking gibberish.
Whatever, Jake, move on. And then at the end of whatever you're doing, he literally, you're like, right?
Yeah. No, hey, don't tell that to his face.
Oh,
We're gonna have to censor that one. Because I played Circus Charlie, and that game is hot fire. It is trash. And I'm still trying to figure out why he loves that game. And it's not because I'm shitting on him. It's because it's a bad game.
So we're deleting this episode before he has a chance to see it.
Please.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think he's in chat. But I think we're safe.
And admit that he's right at all.
He's gone for this weekend. Oh, we forgot to do an episode. My bad.
Exactly. And then the other thing that you didn't mention is when people get this game and you see their name popping up in the corner of your little Steam notification, they also drop off of MP for a couple weeks.
Yes, they do. There is a problem with that, where people have to go, are you okay? We haven't heard from you in a bit, bud. I did see Vampire Survivors on your Steam Deck being played, so I'm just curious to make sure you're all right.
I know exactly what happens is you say, I'm just going to finish this run and then I'll respond.
Yep.
And then you need to do another run because it didn't
Yep.
go exactly the way that you wanted it to. And then you'll get to it after that.
I can't
That's
go out
how
that
this
way.
game
I gotta
is.
try again. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that, Wolf. Thanks for that. Was nobody else paying attention to their pop-ups?
No.
No,
sorry.
I was looking at this screen. Did you just go
I
live
just-
on?
So that's one of the funny things about what they were talking about is, you know, you got a Steam Deck and you're like, I'm just gonna pop it on, and all of a sudden it wakes up in Vampire Survivors because that's where you left it, and all your friends get that pop up. I'm playing Vampire Survivors now, even if all you did was just turn on your Steam Deck. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, I'm on a pause screen right now. On my Steam Deck.
And all of your friends are like, you addict.
but you got me curious now to see just how many characters there are, because there's a lot.
Maybe there's
It's
not 30. but-
stupid.
There are a lot.
There might be.
I think I
'Cause-
finally unlocked the last one today. I could be wrong.
8, 12,
So
16.
Sinstress's story is a little different.
I've got
with Vampire.
42.
All right, I'm at 37.
Sinstress's
27.
story is a little different than I think the rest of us. Because
Probably.
I tried to ruin her ability to.
I'll go. I did not expect to like this game. I had seen it, I had looked at it, and I'm like, that looks cool, but I don't think it's something that I'm going to enjoy. And then we went on a trip, and it was a terrible day. It was the end of a terrible day. And I'm like, I've been in a car, I've been cooped up, I'm all sorts of anxious, and like all I can do is like pace and like feel and he hands me his Steam Deck, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'll pull it up. I own the game, and I turn it on, and it puts all of his achievements on my account. And then I'm pissed off
Oh.
because I'm like, I wanted to unlock all of this stuff myself if I'm gonna do it, right?
Ah.
So I was really angry. I was angry, and I'm like, no, fuck this game. I don't even want to play it now. So I didn't. And then I
Wow.
get home, and I'm like, okay, fine. I'm just gonna try it anyway.
Well,
and
I
I
got
looked at it, and there is nothing that he had unlocked that I did not unlock within 2 days of starting it. Because, well, I play video games a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I was able to clear on her account, because what happened is
This is true.
apparently Vampire Survivors does not actually create a folder under user account library.
Mhm.
So even though I switched accounts, and basically every other game in the world does this, it didn't actually profile for Vampire Survivors.
Weird.
Yeah, so when we got home, I was able to at least erase the progress from her account. The achievements were still unlocked, obviously. Like money that I'd earned, it took away all the characters I'd earned.
Mm-hmm.
So that she was able to at least play the game, from that base level.
Yeah, I was able to start at 0, even though like the dates are off from when I actually achieved the achievements.
Gotcha.
Right. The date doesn't matter, right? Just as long as you get
No,
it.
because it was done within 2 days of like my actual
Right.
starting. So
it says I'm cutting in it.
I can. You've sounded good on my end.
Me
Well,
too.
we might be doing another upload, so
that's fine. It will be okay. Sorry, not sorry.
I don't know. Let's see if that helps. I just changed my gate for OBS.
Word.
Okay, so the way I got started on this game, I guess I'll do that real quick, is I was playing I decided, since they had been talking about Vampire Survivors, I had Game Pass at the time. So and this was like 3-4 weeks ago, something like that. And I was like, all right, I'll give this a shot and see what's up. And so I checked it out, and I went and hung out in the Discord chat with you guys while you were playing Valheim. And I was like, I'll hang out with you guys, but I'm playing Vampire Survivors to see what's up. And I think I played and died like 20 times while we were chatting. And then I was really digging it. And so Sinistar was like, here, just have it on Steam. Quit trying to play it on Game Pass.
That's right. That's what happened. And we were joking about it too. We were like, yeah, he's going to be gone for weeks. Like, we'll see him again in 2 weeks.
Well, I just got a friggin' Steam Deck. And you're like, here, make it so you don't have to be at your PC to play it.
Yep.
There went my month. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
The Steam Deck, I think, is the worst thing for this, because it is mobile, and it's, usually when you're at your PC playing it, you're like, okay, I got to get up and I got to go do stuff. I found myself playing this in my kitchen. I found myself playing this in the bathroom. I found myself playing this when I was like, all right, I'm going to go to bed. And for a while, when I just got the Steam Deck, there was a thing where I was like, all right, like Sinistra said, I'm just going to do a couple runs. And then, the next day at work was the worst day of my life, because that couple runs turned into 2 hours of me trying to get better and better and figuring it out, and it's like, oh God, like once you realize, oh, how this works. Oh, I want to combine these weapons, because Jake told me about the weapon combination thing. And I was like, you could do that? And he was like, you need to get back into it. And I was like, okay. And I did. And it really, like, there's a lot of appeal to a lot of the, what'd you call it? The Christmas vomit with Christmas lights or whatever.
Yeah. Diarrhea Christmas lights.
So
I will say that's not my term. I stole it from a YouTube channel called Girlfriend Reviews. But whenever I see anything like that now, I'm like, absolutely, that's what that is. Like, it's the best term there's ever been for it. So
So one thing that I love about this game is how, when you start out, it's very basic. You have very few tools available to you, and it takes a second to figure out, like, oh, up in the corner, these are my 6 weapons, and these are my 6 augments, and these are my, whatevers. And then as you progress, you gain more of those, but also more ability to see how those things interact. And that's unlocked through playing the game. Like there's a level that gives you a book where all of this information is stored and you're like, oh, now I can actually like see it, but it's hidden until you figure it out. So either, there are two ways of going about it. And one is you can go down that rabbit hole, which there are absolutely resources for, or you can play around and figure out what works and what doesn't. And, so that's really a variable, just depending on your own personal play style of how to handle that.
Right. I mean, like Tunic in the instruction manual, the tome is my instruction manual on this game. I use that tome religiously to be like, okay, because it doesn't give you everything. It's just like Tunic. It doesn't give you everything, but it gives you a glimpse of what could be. And you go, oh, this is how these two kind of match up. And then you find them, and then the game tells you, hey, these two can marry together to do something cool. And then, next thing you know, it's 36 minutes into your run. You've got 5 deaths up your ass and you're drowning in the water that has been, but you're not dying because nothing can touch you. So you're just like, what do I do? I'm going to go make a sandwich real quick and see if I'm dead by the time I get back.
And then that'll help you unlock another book that helps you keep track of something else, that helps you, do more things. I love that about it.
Failing and winning is literally the keys to these games. You suck. You suck when you play. You suck when you start this game up. And if you can get past, sucking and realize that by losing you're winning, then it starts to get really fun. And it really doesn't take long for you to be like, okay, all right, I think I'm getting the hang of this. And then the next thing you know, your wife's asking you if you still have a pulse because you haven't moved in the last 6 hours.
So I suppose I should mention the fact that I opened this with a line from Castlevania Simon's Quest. And that's because this game draws so much inspiration from the Castlevania games in terms of art style, music style, aesthetic, character designs, all these things. Like, it's a lot of this stuff, you're looking at it and you're like, this is basically bootleg Castlevania in a wave shooter, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. I mean, one of the characters, there's the whole Bell Pace line of people instead of Belmont.
Right.
Like the weapons are straight out of Castlevania. You got the whip, you got the boomerang
Antonio
cross,
Bell
you got
Space.
the axe.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned specifically out of Castlevania, because I've got a video that I did of a little bit of a playthrough. And as you were saying, right out of Castlevania, the little dragon mouths that are the opposite directions were on the screen, from that are in Castlevania. So, yeah.
I watched this video of you, Sinistar, and when the bulls come running at you because you hit the trap panel.
Yes.
I imagine the sound that you make when we play spooky games, going, "Oh God! Oh God!"
I specifically recorded this no commentary, so my mic is muted. But yeah, I might have been in the background going, "Oh God! Oh God!"
Those floor traps suck so bad, especially when it gets busy
do.
and you're like, "Oh no, what do I do?"
Oh, the milk factory is awful.
Yeah,
this place was the bane of my existence for a long time. I'm sorry, Wolf. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine. Now I'm distracted by watching Sinistar's play. I should stop looking.
Watching, you guys are like, oh, I should.
I want to go back to having that paused and not pay attention to that.
I'll probably be playing this when we're done with the episode because my wife's going to take over my computer again. So I know what I'm doing when we're done.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it served a couple purposes, because one, like, I was kind of limited on what I was doing, and I know I got it after my surgery that I had recently. And so for that, I was laid up in bed, but I was playing other things. And I got this after I was able to walk around mostly. And so it was kind of a downtime thing for me where, if the wife was like, okay, go chill for a while and don't walk around because you still need to be sitting now and then, I'd be like, all right. So I'd just grab my Steam Deck and go play this. Or, like Chard was saying, bathroom, just chilling on the couch in bed, because I stay up later than my wife because if I don't, I will snore and keep her up all night. So I have to wait until she's asleep. So I start playing, and most nights since I've had this, I stay up way later than I oughta. But
By the way, I fixed my snoring for my wife.
And I appreciate
Yeah, now it sounds like
No. It's actually nearly silent.
it's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds
I
like our
still
fish
sleep
tank.
with sound in my ears, but yeah, it's better.
We can tell this for the podcast listeners. I got diagnosed with sleep apnea, so now I have a CPAP, a continuous positive air pressure device.
Don't worry, I may be heading down that road myself.
Yeah.
Well, that's another episode for another day. Press B to CPAP.
Press B to CPAP. We're getting old. We're getting old.
Press
All right.
Press CPAP.
To cancel
the sister's channel. But anyway,
so I was
Yeah.
playing this a lot. It's something I play while, just sitting on the couch when the wife started watching some Love is Blind follow-up show the other day. And I kind of half tune in and out of that. So this was great for that,
Yes. Yeah.
It's like Flavor of Love.
To be fair, we like to watch that show to pick on most of the people.
That's fair.
I
We did the same
listen.
thing with
I
Flavor
don't
of Love.
watch until
Yeah.
major unveils and everything. But like some people, it's like, dude looks like a fucking Muppet. What's up with that? Anyway, I digress again.
Well,
It's
real
like those
quick,
TikToks when you're low key interested in what your girl's watching, and it's got the fighting in the background, and the guy's like,
well, real quick, since I didn't actually give my background on this, I was gifted this by a certain watcher of streams that is well known. I'm looking at you, Von Beardley.
Fun.
That's right.
By the way, speaking of, he 100%ed it. He got all achievements today.
Wow.
Yeah.
man, is it?
I'm close, but he
Yeah.
made it.
But anyway, he gifted it to me, and of course I was like, Vaughn, you're crazy. What are you doing? He's like, it was like $3. I'm like, okay, fine, $3. And then I forgot about it. Like I was just like, okay. Like I think it was I have a problem sometimes where it's like popular stuff comes in and I'm like, not interested in that. Like if everybody loves it, I'm gonna hate it, right? Which of course is obviously wrong a lot. But anyway. So I finally picked it back up when I got my Steam Deck as well. Thank you, Steam Deck. And it's one of those where it's just one more run. We happened to go visit you folks up in the Pacific Northwest during the middle of all of this. And yeah, I'm sitting in the hotel room. I'm either playing Vampire Survivors or I'm playing Euro Truck Simulator on my Steam Deck, right? Mm-hmm. And that was like basically it. So I will say this though. It's good for when something in the background doesn't require a lot of concentration. I've tried to watch it with television, and if I'm trying to pay attention to a show, I lose it when I'm playing Vampire Survivors. But if it's one of those where it's like trash TV and you can kind of hear the dumpster fire in the background, it's great.
I will agree with about half of that. Once you get to a certain point with your character, which is usually about halfway through a run, that's assuming that your run is actually going to go the full 30 minutes, which you get to a point where they basically do. But the first 10, 15 minutes, you actually have to pay attention to what you're doing. And then after that, you can just hit buttons and ignore it and actually pay attention to what's going on TV because you know that you're going to win. And that's all. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we get audio on that because that doesn't look good.
Yeah, but I will watch stuff that I'm actually trying to pay attention to, and I will just pause it for the first few minutes of the game, and then I'm like, all right, I can pay attention to TV again.
So it's in our YouTube chat, Ghosts just said Vampire Survivors is oddly satisfying to watch. It's absolutely true. Part of the reason that I threw this video up, and I'm going to let it run basically the whole duration, is so that you can see the, what do you call it? The Christmas lights of
Diarrhea Christmas
the
lights.
gems.
Yeah.
The
but then I also,
The gems. But I mean, even when you pause it, you just see confetti falling from the top. It's just constant movement.
It never stops. It is very visually stimulating the entire time you play it.
and
like
can
that.
we
Yeah.
talk about
when
the
you level
treasure
up.
chests?
Well, really quick, I wanted to say the other reason that I'm playing the video through is because this game is known to absolutely trash streaming encoding algorithms, and I want to see how YouTube handles it. So, but really quick, one other aside, because we talk about the confetti and the amount of stuff on the screen, and this will lead into the treasure chests. The creator left the gambling industry. He was a developer for like the gambling industry. And so like he has all of this background to like give you that, serotonin, whatever it is, the bump of like
Dopamine.
the dopamine bump, right?
Dopamine.
Yeah. Which can lead into, let's talk about the treasure chests. Sinstress, you kind of mentioned it.
Okay.
She's watching the game. We're all sucked in.
I'm actually I know that I would get distracted, so I am. No, the treasure chest. Like when you get that, and you're like, is this just gonna be like an upgrade, or is it gonna give me the what do you call it? The
Progression.
evolution?
Yeah, the evolution.
Or am I gonna get one of the big ones? Am I gonna get a 3-fer or a 5-fer? Like those 5-fers, you're like, oh, like you have that reaction.
Even the music is exciting.
You're like, sex is good and all, but have you gotten a 5-fer treasure chest?
Exactly.
I would like to mention that those 5 treasure chests are a double-edged sword. Because I don't like to watch the animation anymore. I hit the back button to just pace it out, right? On the 1s and the 3s, it works. As soon as you hit the B button, it's like, boom, this is what you got. Okay, cool. For the
I didn't know this.
No, you have to sit and watch the whole animation and just hear the dance music build and build and build, and then da da da.
I enjoy that part. It's good to know that you can back out of it, but I actually enjoy the like.
You can only do it with the 1s and 3s, though. The 5, it makes you sit there. And with his. So about 3 days ago, I decided to turn off the sound effects in this game. 1, because I wanted to hear the music, and 2, because I was playing with a really, really obnoxious weapon, trying to do something with a certain character.
May I ask which one? Do you remember?
I don't recall anymore. Okay. It was just like this constant. It was really obnoxious. And so I was like, okay, I can't anymore. So I turned off the sound, and I just wanted to hear the music anyway, because I found a few tracks that I really dig on. And so I was like, all right, cool. Just the music. So now I don't hear all the treasure chests. Like if you turn off the sound effects, literally the only thing that plays is the background music. That's it. The treasure chest music doesn't play. It's a sound effect. There was a certain character I was trying to unlock. And when you get into the region to unlock them, the music stops and it's supposed to start playing whispering sounds instead. So then my game went dead silent and the music never came back. So it's just like another 10 minutes of playing that stage with no sound whatsoever. And so, yeah, I finally had to give up, and we're talking like 135, 140 achievements in to 161 of them now. If you have the DLC,
Jesus, I got like
I thought it was 161.
I'm pretty sure it's 162.
I think there's a hidden achievement. I think.
Oh yeah, it's 162. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'm missing 7 achievements at the moment. I got 155 minutes before we started recording tonight.
Nice.
All right. I'll fucking play tonight.
I was trying to squeeze in as much as I could before tonight's episode. That was the idea.
Right.
But yeah, I did get to experience some of the recent patch, which I don't know if we want to put that under spoiler territory and come back to it.
So we're at 35-ish minutes in. I think we can say that if you're not interested in spoilers, this is probably a good place to call it. Especially since
right, guys, it's been a great show.
Yeah. Especially since the video has reached the 10-minute mark, which is basically kind of where you get in the early game for a little while. So if you want to drop out, we're not going to feel bad. But if you want to hang out, we're going to probably give some spoilers. I'm going to say it's going to be soft spoilers. We're not going to like try to go out and ruin everything.
No, I'm not going to tell people how to unlock characters or, all the characters. We're not going
Right.
to go that deep. There's wikis for that nonsense, but
there's some really, it would take an entire episode to get like some of these character unlocks. So I think we're safe on that one.
Yeah.
And I just looked, I only have 107 of the 162 achievements. So
Yeah,
Wow.
you suck.
All right.
I
all
know.
right. Let me measure my vampire survivor penis size real quick with you.
I have a feeling I have the smallest vampire survivor penis.
I doubt it. Where are my achievements? Okay, I have
That's
more
fine.
than I thought. I have 114.
See?
Okay.
I have 155.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
even.
122.
Well, Cincrus may have been doing what you were trying to do as well, Wolf, and get as many achievements before the podcast as possible.
Yeah, I unlocked, I think, 2 characters today, maybe 3. Yeah, I did 2.
Think about that.
I think I did about the same, honestly.
Yeah.
And there are a number of characters who are not tied to a unlocking an achievement, and instead they're just like, do this special thing in game, and you get this character.
Yeah.
And it's not tied to an achievement. It's so that they've got like 2 menus in the main menu that you have to find them, obviously, but there's one called unlocks and one called secrets. And unlocks tells you exactly what to do to get the character, whatever it unlocks, right? And it shows you a little picture of what you'll unlock. Secrets gives you a vague clue as to what you need to do to complete that secret, but it doesn't tell you what you'll get for it.
Mm-hmm.
And the secrets don't come with achievements. At least I don't think most of the time. I don't recall one triggering one yet, and I think I've done 7 or 8 of them. So, but yeah, the secrets are stupidly vague to one where I tried probably a good 15 times and then finally gave up and looked it up. I was like, I don't know what to do. I've tried everything I could think of. And I was like, oh, I was not going to figure that out because I'm dumb,
That is the only time I have really like looked something up and used a code to unlock it, because I couldn't figure out what it meant. And I looked it up and I was like, oh, well, I have already contaminated my playthrough because you have to do it with 0 golden eggs. And I had already obtained golden eggs with this character. So there was absolutely no way without wiping everything off, without a complete restart to get this achievement. Or unlock, not achievement.
That was a weird one. I was like, oh no, I have to do one with no eggs.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to, when you're trying to do that secret, it's like, okay, who the hell do I feel comfortable using to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because
I'll have to look into that.
I guess I should preface this with like, there's probably a good 25 different weapons in the game, if not more, just base weapons, probably closer to 40, honestly. But there's a lot of base weapons. And then each character starts with a specific weapon for the most part. There's like one that I've seen that starts with one that's not really a weapon, like an offensive weapon. It's defensive. And so she gets to roll again immediately to try and get you.
Oh, yeah. She's
weapon.
Got the pentagram.
And then there's one that starts with a gift box where you can pick any of the base weapons.
Right.
But for the most part, they all have a specific weapon tied to them. And then usually something special about the way their character is either built or grows over time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of nice because you can start your build out. I mean, you select whichever player you want to start with that has that one weapon, and then that's when you could start your strategy. You don't just pick someone just randomly. You look at the weapon types, and then you can see how you could build upon that to push through. And everybody kind of starts with. I always figure that Poe was the best guy to start with as a starter to kind of unlock some things. This has worked for me. Poe's the guy with the garlic. He has a garlic shield that you could start with.
Okay.
And I assumed as soon as I got garlic, I would be freaking unstoppable. And I was for a little while. And then they found a way around all my garlic. And I was like, This is dumb. This should be the best character in the game. And he's super frail, so he doesn't take a lot of damage when he starts getting hit, because he's an old fuck.
I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. We can talk about that. Like, absolutely, I felt like garlic was like the weapon, right? But there's a point in the game where like I stopped selecting garlic. Like, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
garlic was great early game, but now it's actually making it so that I can't get the actual collectibles I want, right?
Right.
And because there's better than garlic, anyway.
I mean, yeah, the goddamn knives are they're a drill.
When you get machine gun knives, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're one of the best ones out there. And I like the rune tracer ones too, but I was always a big fan of the rune tracers. So but that's just me personally.
I do need to ask, because I know Sinstress understands them just because she's got so many achievements, but Sinistar and Chard, have you guys messed around with Arcanas yet?
No.
Nope.
Oh,
those changed the game.
Are those the cards that
do.
you select at the beginning of the? Yeah, okay. I was messing with them a couple days ago.
Yeah, I've never done that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys have noticed, and I'm probably going to spoil a little bit for you, but you're probably about the point where it's time for you to figure that out anyway. There's an option to reduce the amount of weapons you carry.
Okay.
And combining that with arcanas, there's a certain arcana that makes that very beneficial to do.
Oh, really?
And honestly, most of my runs at this point are single weapon. Sometimes dual weapon, but most of the time single weapon.
Huh.
And honestly, if I go dual weapon, it's because I want the Laurel to be upgraded. But
okay, Laurel's great. Laurel's great.
Laurel's great.
When
I
you
guess we can
upgrade that
talk
to the
about our
cloak,
favorite weapon combinations since we're in
it
spoiler
makes you
territory.
basically invulnerable, right? Like, I don't know if you guys have upgraded that, but yeah, if you upgrade it to the cloak, and so that I don't want to spoil too much for you guys because I have so many more achievements and unlocks than you guys do, so I don't want to like spoil everything for you guys.
Done that part.
I have upgraded Laurel to the next tier where I've gotten the positive and the negative things.
Yeah. What about the rings?
Yes, I've gotten the gold and silver rings and the lancet.
Yeah, I think yes.
So if you get those and one other weapon of choice, you're pretty much guaranteed to get that extra oomph at the end after the 30-minute mark.
Okay.
I don't know if I've beaten death yet.
I haven't.
That's kind of what you need. I was making a game of it every round I played where I would run around and grab literally everything, particularly on Mad Forest, and just have my character completely decked out by the 30-minute mark. Everything would be upgraded, and I was just gathering money or food at that point, right? And that's how I was able to beat death at the end.
That is one way in which I sometimes shoot myself in the foot, because the way that I play is like, okay, I can take these weapons because I know that their counterpart is on the board. So I can fill up my slots with something else that I want and still be able to upgrade the weapon. So then you can get I think I've had up to 10 augments before, just from, choosing them when I level up and then also collecting those that are scattered around the map. And there is an arcana that helps with that a lot. If you pull it.
So it sounds like I need to go back to this game.
Yes.
Yeah,
so there's
you and me both, bud. You and me both.
A lot of the arcanas get unlocked by getting specific characters. Like each arcana is unlocked by getting a specific character up to level 50. So and it straight up tells you and unlocks, it's got a number next to it. That's
okay. So card V, card IV, card V.
It sounds like Werewolf and I went through the same process of getting all of this, which is you just go into unlocks, you follow the list one after the other, and you will get it. It will be done.
Yeah. and there's like 150, 160 items in that unlock list. There's a little button you can toggle that's just like hide the ones I've done. So you don't have to scroll down every time.
Yeah.
But I like to look at my my winnings there, sir.
I'm a little vain. I'm a little vain and enjoy like
me and Sinister are behind, but totally vain.
Look how amazing of a fucker I am. And then you guys are over
that one.
You guys are over here. You're like, I've got 150 something, and I just turn all the stuff off. It's fine.
I'm just doing an Ariana Grande. Thank you next.
Yeah.
Like you're swiping right on the next thing.
Yeah, you hit that achievement. And you're like, all right, what's next? Boom, what's next? Boom, what's next? You know, that's the goal. Like, so some of them.
Whoa, we got this one.
Yeah, I'm at 105 achievements.
Whoa. That's triple digits, bro.
Yeah.
It took getting pretty far for me to finally be like, all right, I need to start looking stuff up. Because I just didn't feel like I needed to for a long time. So I just didn't. It was when I was trying to finally unlock one specific thing that I threw in the towel. So, and I don't even remember what that thing was offhand right now, but
it's in the secrets, right? Because I looked at those and some of them made sense right away. And some of those I thought about it and I'm like, oh, okay. I think I know what this is. There are still some of them that I'm like, I don't fucking know. And I'm not going to know until I look them up because my brain just isn't going to figure this out. I don't have the time.
Does not compute.
There was one that's like, it looks like it's a gimme. It's like, enter this spell, right? And you try entering that. It doesn't work. And I looked that one up because I kept trying. I was like, I must be typing it wrong or something. What's going on? It wasn't working. So finally I looked that one up and I was like, that's stupid. I was not going to figure that out. I'm surprised somebody did. I don't know how they figured it out.
I want to say
that's one that I got stuck on too for the exact same reason. I'm like, this should work. This should absolutely work the way that it says to do it.
I want to say I was proud. On the tower level, getting the coffin is a hidden location, right? And I remember going on the map to where it was, and it's not. It's like off the side of the map, right? And so like I remember talking to Sinstress, and I was like,
you asked me, you're like, did you find it? And I was like, yeah. Do you need to know where it is?
And I was like,
no, I'm gonna figure it out.
Okay. Basically, like, I just needed that validation that it was like it was something that I could like actively find, and then I did find it, right? And so I felt good about that. Was a fun one to find.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that one was pretty cleverly hidden, and there's a few points in the game that kind of do that. Certain levels, it'll be like the secret is hidden behind. You have to acquire specific items scattered on the map, and then it'll trigger an event that you can do, right?
Yeah.
I think that was the case at the Dairy Factory and Mad Forest.
Yeah. I would like to sort of vaguely say one of my favorites is I accidentally did the thing that the secret does. And I was like, why is the map throwing pies at me?
I didn't put 2 and 2 together on that. I was just like, all right, I did something where they're throwing food at me because I always have the attract orb. So I just have pies coming at me from wherever. And I don't realize that this food is supposed to do something.
Yeah, exactly. And then when I got the thing that shows the secrets, because you do have to have the book in order to get the secrets, I was like, oh, that's what happened. And now I'm going to go actually do the thing. But it was just randomly like the map just starts throwing pies at me or cookies or something, you know, like.
Yeah.
I thought the cookies were the cherry bombs.
And they're delicious.
I love that panda. That's one of my favorite characters. That stupid panda.
Oh, the Tanuki?
Yeah. He's just throwing cherry bombs like an asshole.
Oh, wait. No, was that a panda? Is that what that was? It looked like a
It looks like a panda. It could be a Tanuki, but it looks like a
no, there's a Tanuki. There's an actual Tanuki in the game, but I thought that was like a walking killer whale. I can't really tell what he is.
You could, that's a good argument. I just assumed it was like Pan from Kung Fu Panda or some bullshit. Because that's what he looks like to me. I'm like, is that Jack Black?
I mean,
It would
there's
be.
a lot
Jack
of
Black would be walking around throwing cherry bombs.
there's a lot
So-
of borrowed lore in this. We've talked about Castlevania. I mean, there's a lot of
So
yeah.
there's a lot of borrowed lore and a lot of winks and nods to just various IPs throughout the
Yeah.
gaming and sometimes just general pop culture industries, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a clever game.
I picked up on one that was a reference to Undertale.
Oh,
Just very vaguely a reference to Undertale, but it's there.
Yeah. I think one of the characters reminds me of a Darkstalkers fighting character
it very well
Guitar
could be.
because he's got
The
the,
guitar
bat wings
player?
and he walks around with a guitar. What is that? It's the rockin' zombie guy or something, or the vampire that's
like-
in there.
Mhm.
I know who you're talking about. When you have his music on hyper mode, that is an absolute kick-ass tune.
Right.
Soundtrack is a banger. The soundtrack is an
Yes.
absolute banger. Yeah.
There's so many different tones to how these musics. There's a lot of tracks in this game. I think each character has one. I think each level has one, and there might even just be a few additionals beyond that. And so at a point, you get the ability to just. I don't know if it was right off the bat or it took time, but you can change the music to whatever you want every play, so you're not tied to a specific tune.
Mhm.
And I kind of dig on that because sometimes I'm like, I just want to hear this song, and it's some of them are kind of hypnotizing.
I can't stop watching this goddamn screen.
I took it off
You wanna
my
talk about
other monitor.
Yeah, it's on my other monitor. That's the problem. I keep looking over at it because I keep going.
It's at the 23.
this?
It's at the 23
It's like
minute
Jimmy.
mark, so it's getting a little heavy.
I'm seeing the breakdown and the
Uh-huh.
and the codex.
But it's I do want to say it's funny because I heard you guys all talking in Marco Polo about this game. You guys are like
Yeah.
talking about the dairy factory and the library and
Uh-huh.
the tower and the forest and
Uh-huh.
the garlic and cross and
Mhm.
all these things. And I was like, I have no idea because I didn't know what the game was. So I was
Right.
just like, this all just sounds like gibberish to me
Yeah.
because I can't fathom how what you're saying ties to this type of game.
Yeah.
It wasn't making my brain wasn't able to make the connection. And then once I
Mhm.
started playing, I was like, oh, I remember them talking about this. I get it now. I remember them talking about this. I get that now. And
Well,
that happened a lot playing this.
Can I also point out that when you're playing the game, until you kind of understand what the game is doing with the weapons and the evolutions and et cetera, the game is gobbledygook too when you're playing it.
Yeah.
Like the first time you get a new weapon, like let's say the rune tracer or the cats, you're like, I have no idea
I love the
what
cat.
is going on. I don't have any idea how to use this. Like I love the cats. I think they're great. but seriously, you get a new weapon. The first time I got the rune tracer, I'm like, well, this is trash. And then it's one of the better weapons, right? Like
I love the Rune
Yeah.
Tracer. I
Yeah.
found myself getting deeper into games when I first started this with the character that does the Rune Tracers to start.
Well, if you're watching
And I was
this,
like, this is the worst weapon, and I'm better at it than I am with a damn whip.
if you're watching which you said you are, I'm heavily using rune tracer in this run.
Yeah, I see it. I see it. You haven't
So-
upgraded it, but I see the Rune Tracer.
Yeah.
Its upgrade is sick. I like its
Mhm.
upgrade.
Yeah. Pretty much
It's
all the
that-
upgrades are sick. Almost all
They
of
are.
them.
Mhm.
I don't like this the weird drill looking thing. I don't.
Yeah.
The control on that is ass. I hate it.
And the
Where you just
pentagram,
shoot it out, it drops it off, and then you got to run back, and then it shoots in the direction that you're like walking or you direct it to.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
I don't
Not a
hate
fan.
it, but I feel like it's more effective in its first form than its evolved form.
Yeah.
well, and the
It's-
pentagram is actually like it's a mediocre weapon until you evolve it.
Oh,
And then it kicks
that's the
all
thing
the
too.
ass.
Mhm.
Is you can eventually unlock a way to where you can they call it limit break.
Mhm.
You check that box and instead of getting gold or food at the end, you can keep upgrading your weapon every
Yep,
level.
they
up.
upgrade a little
Yeah.
more, or there's different stats in
And
it.
when you get that evolved pentagram to start adding more to its amount, it's just constantly triggered. I had it going where it was just every time it would end, it would kick right off again. There was no delay on it anymore. And it was just decimating everything. It was great.
Yeah. But once again, one of those gobbledygook weapons that you like start playing with and you're like, what is this? You start with the pentagram and all of a sudden all the awesome things that you wanted to collect disappear.
Oh, God.
You're like,
I hate that.
Yeah.
It's so obnoxious. Like playing with just the pentagram is brutal.
It is.
One of the things I actually enjoy about playing with the pentagram, and this is because like I like to live and play dangerously, is that, you know, like, oh, I just got a chest. Can I get off the screen before this thing makes it disappear? You know, like
right.
And then I'll just have like chests just scattered all over because I'm like, I'm just gonna leave them out there until everything is like upgraded to its fullest, and then I'll go open all of them and evolve everything all at the same time. Because the pentagram fucks like it just does.
Fucks. Trace commas. This fucking game fucks. Thank you for that Silicon Valley reference.
Okay, so I have to ask this because this is a tie to our Marco Polos, but GP this week said, should I play Vampire Survivors or Tunic first? Should we vote? Well, I'm giving an option, I'm giving an either, not an or. I don't know. I think with his schedule and stuff, we should get him to start playing Vampire Survivors. And then
Vampire Survivors is such a good fast turnaround time that Tunic's going to take him a minute. You can get a couple run-ins and then go play Tunic when you're done with it.
We know he does a lot of gaming on his phone. He's told us he plays through Final Fantasies, the Final Fantasy Tactics. I think he played through most of the Pixel remasters on his phone. So like clearly he doesn't have an issue just playing a game on his phone for hours.
Right.
I can't
Which he could do this with. Yeah,
but,
I can't either. No, he should do his penance run. November's right. He needs to do his penance run first.
Yeah, I mean, I need to start. I need to start Final Fantasy VI. I need to do my Bubsy 3D play for you guys. So I have stuff I gotta do.
Gross.
I mean, I've almost badged Dragon's Lair Ness here. Come on.
One badge. You have one achievement. Shut up.
Close enough.
Look, that's one more. That is infinitely more than any of you have.
You don't know. I might have the badge. You know what I do in my spare time.
I will say that as addictive as this game is, I can see my interest in it waning.
Yeah.
And not because I've been playing it a lot, but because as I'm nearing the end, you see fewer and fewer of those things to unlock. So the dopamine hits are going away, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I'm running out of stuff to unlock. I'm running out of stuff to achieve in the game. And so I'm kind of not as interested in playing it as much. So the only reason I've been playing it as much as I have this week is because I wanted to get as much in before this episode.
I do this with a lot of games, and I almost did it with this one, except I do want to get all of the achievements before I do this. I will go back and like start from scratch. But yeah, there's a point at which like Stardew Valley is the same for me. Like I get to a certain point, usually about 3 years in, and I'm like, all right, I'm trash it, new map, new everything. Just got to start over. Because it gets boring and repetitive, and like you've done all of the things and there's no challenge to it anymore, right? Like that's how the fun is, like overcoming the challenge. Speaking of which, today I did one that I fucking hated. One of the unlocks, like it made me angry. It's been a long time since I've had to do more than like 1 or 2 runs to get something. I had to do 4 with the goddamn robe. When you get the robe, it sucks. It's terrible. It's awful. I hate it.
All right.
I still don't know how it works.
Menya?
Menya business.
I don't know. It's the robe. It's the one that like does the hologram or whatever. That like I don't know what triggers it. I don't know how it works. I tried to figure it out. And it's like, if you're standing there, it will put out these holograms that freeze the enemies, but if you move, then they go away. But then maybe if you stand there, it'll do it, but maybe if you're moving, it'll put them out. And I can't fucking figure out how it actually works, what triggers it. Like, there's no fixed time interval.
No, it's not a fixed time interval. It's all movement. It triggers every X amount of movement.
Okay.
Is how it works.
I hate it.
It's weird.
I hate it. She's playing this game right now, and she came to bed last night. Name shall not be mentioned, and she rage quit the game and stormed into bed last night, waking me up because I went to bed before her
to tell you how much she hates it.
She goes, I rage quit. Like, that bad, huh? She goes, this is stupid.
And so is she already chomping at the bit? Is she already like, when's the podcast going to be done so I can get back to this?
Yeah, no, she's not, but she goes, sheepishly, might I add, oh, I need you to do this for me. Are you sure, babe? Yeah, I can't figure it out. Just do this one thing for me and we'll do the rest. I'm like, okay. Because I've already done it. So, and I did it like, boop, boop, boop. Okay. But I haven't done it for her yet. And I was like, this is your game. If you want me to do it, I'll do it. But she goes, I just don't want you to be that husband that has to ask or that wife that has to ask his gaming husband to play the game for her. I'm like, you're a grown ass woman that needs no man. You do what you want. So.
Yeah. Excellent.
Well, I do this a lot on the weekends. It's okay. It's okay to ask. Benefits of having a gamer husband. Exactly, Nomi.
Yeah.
I can't do anything else, but I can beat your games for you.
Clogged toilet.
Car too fucking bad, but I'll tell you what.
Clogged toilet.
Pass this part for you.
Call a plumber, but video game. Give me the controller.
Always reminds me. There's a Far Side comic. My dad showed this to me, and it's got the kid playing Nintendo, and these two parents, and they're standing next to each other with their arms around one another, looking at their kid playing this game, and there's a thought bubble over their head, and it says an ad, like a newspaper ad, and it says like, do you need your Goombas killed? Call so and so, and like all these dreams of their child, like being able to go out and do these things with this video
That's
talent
fantastic.
that he has. I was like, that's
awesome.
funny. Mushrooms giving you troubles? Call so and so.
Speaking of Goombas and Mario, for those that are listening and or watching, if you haven't seen the SNL bit with Pedro Pascal for the Super Mario Kart movie, do yourself a favor.
They make me feel big.
I need to feel big.
What happens if we crash? I'm not gonna. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. But what happens if we crash? Okay.
I love him putting the red shells in the shotgun.
Well, another one. Just dodge it. Just dodge it. I can't. It's a red.
As much as I usually cringe at that style of humor that the recent SNL cast and writers have been trying to acquire and achieve, they did a bang up job with that one.
Yeah,
I think Pedro Pascal had his hand in it a little bit. I know he's just the actor in it and playing along with it, but they do cater to certain people's strengths when they get on the show. So
yeah,
I enjoy that.
Excellent.
Well,
so yeah,
have we vampire survived this episode?
Have we survived?
Yes, I think so. I would. So I'm going to ask you guys what you would think, but for me, I would recommend this game if you have free time to kill for the next month. That's my caveat. If you have free time to kill for the next month or two, I recommend the game.
I would recommend the game if you have the ability to do like kind of the little bite-sized games as part of your normal life. Like I played this during work meetings on my deck because nobody saw me doing it, and I was able to pay attention to the meeting, right? Like it
should have been an email anyway.
So yeah, well, that's 99% of meetings. But yeah, I mean, so I guess what I'm saying is like that's maybe inside the Venn diagram of yours as well, Wolf.
Oh, are we bringing out GP's Venn diagram?
Yes.
Work, Vampire Survivors.
Mm-hmm.
I'm right here.
So my experience is probably different because I do not have a paying job. So I play a lot of video games. And I am so lazy and I have a hard time finding motivation. So something that I love about this game is I can do a run and then it's like, all right, you have played your game. You can get up and go fold your laundry or, sweep the floor or whatever. And so like it breaks up the game and sort of gives you an incentive to do the chores because you're like, okay, I'm going to do a chore. And then my reward is more video games. So it's actually helpful to me. It's actually more motivation for me than
Yeah, that's true. It can be a bite-sized experience. I mean, depending on whether you consider 20, 30 minutes bite-sized, but it's instead of, a multi-hour gaming session that most people probably go for, it's not as bite-sized as say Rocket League or something like that, but it's still, you sit down, you have a run. If it's a good run, takes you a half hour. If it's a bad run, could be 5 minutes,
Right.
but you sit down, do that, and then it's like, all right, I need to get up and go do something else. Because I do the same thing. I homeschool the kid. I take care of the house for the most part. So that's
But then
And
there's the age old just one more.
right.
yes.
And that
is a
being
problem though.
the full-time away from his house worker, the only one here, and having the mobility. I can do 20, 30-minute chunks and then put it down and then go. I think I'm very much on the Sinistress train of, I will find myself playing it for 5 hours, but then I'll also be like, all right, I'm just going to do like an hour run and then I can time myself. And then if I'll get 2 good runs in and then I can put it down and go do something else. So, but I don't, being someone who streams 4 hours every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 30 minutes is a bite-sized chunk for me. That's I'm waiting for my wife to get done with something so we can go out or get food or make food or whatever, or go to the bathroom. TMI, but it is what it is. Or I'm not tired, but I'm lying in bed. She'll go play your Christmas light diarrhea game or whatever the hell you call it. And I was like, okay. So, I could definitely squeeze that in. So for my caveat to this is, if you have nothing else like that you're driven to get done, like you're not playing an RPG or you're not playing something that's got a lot of time that needs to be invested, or requires a lot of your attention, and you just kind of want to fuck off for so long, fire this up, spin this up, give it a few minutes. There's some thought that needs to go into it, but honestly, once you get the groove, it doesn't take a lot of thought. You just zone out and play this game, and it's a real good time killer and real good to be like, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to play Vampire Survivors tonight. I have no idea what to do. And I find myself like a penance run or playing Doom 3. Fuck that game. It's good to just bridge gaps of time if you can't think of anything else. Or like Sinistar was, or I think Wolf was saying it, when your wife's watching a show or your significant other is watching a show and you just want to be out there, but you don't care about really what's on, and they're playing on their phone, just do a couple runs of this and you'll find yourself being like, oh, it's time for bed, or oh, it's time to go do this, or oh, it's been 5 years, what happened to everything?
Yeah, and if you have a Steam Deck, because I imagine the phone is not quite as forgiving, but if you have a Steam Deck, and I know that's a small if for a lot of people, but it's got that process of like the Switch where you can just sleep it and come back later, Yeah. So if you're in the middle of a run, but you got to get up and do something, pause it, sleep it, come back later. It's not going to be hard to figure out what you were doing.
Oh, yeah.
Agreed.
All you got to do is look at, okay, what did I have? What level am I? Okay, this was the plan. It's that simple.
And if you fuck something up and you wreck a run, it's not the end of the world. It's not like, God, I gotta go all the way back and do that shit
I've actually
again.
had a lot of fun with like things when I fuck it up and I'm like, well, this is trash. It's going to be trash. And then it actually ends up going splendidly. So
yeah.
I get excited because like, oh, I know what I missed. I know I could go back and do it again. It's kind of a learning thing,
So,
Okay.
and with the recent patch, I think Jake kind of wanted us to mention this.
Yeah.
They rubbed some Sonic the Hedgehog funk on this recent patch.
They really did.
And that was the level I got to do that. That was the second to last achievements I got before. That was the second to last run I did before the podcast tonight. And that was just such a trip. Basically, you're in like Green Hill Zone.
Really?
But then they call the level, Backcountry.
Oh,
I figured out
okay.
why they call it that. So it's sort of a double meaning. One is that's all that's on the stage. All the enemies are bats or bat variants, right?
Can't stop now.
Yeah, that's the other thing. We can't
Gotta
stop
go back.
here.
Yeah, can't
This is
stop.
Backcountry. We can't stop here.
Uh-huh.
You can't sit still because things can spawn on you.
Oh,
And that's part of the Sonic the Hedgehog funk that they rubbed on it. Is think back to Sonic the Hedgehog 1 special stages, those little blocks that Sonic
Yes.
was bouncing off and around on. Sometimes those just appear and they hurt you. So those can appear right on top of you. So that's why you can't stop. You can't leave the game unattended on that stage. It's just
I have
suicide.
You hit the exit sphere on accident on that special game, and the sound effect that hits that, it makes me angry, and I go.
But it's also kind of funny because you see like the checkered ground, and then sometimes that background disappears, and you just get the actual background with no foreground. And
I don't know
you
if
just
Sinister...
No, I haven't seen this.
Go ahead.
You see the sphere from like the Sonic 3 special stages just moving in the background. And you can tell it's not pulled resources from the Sonic games. Like the guy actually made his own resources for this, but to imitate Sonic the Hedgehog. And it's really cool.
Yeah. So my entire experience with Sonic is like what I have seen of it. I think I may have actually played a Sonic game at some point, but I never had consoles growing up, like at all. They were not allowed in my house. Didn't happen. I was an adult before I got a GameCube. That was my first console. So I never played it. But yeah, I got to there yesterday. I'm like, this looks really familiar. Like, what the fuck are these blocks? Like, and I kept saying, what the hell? What the fuck? And I'm surprised Sinistar didn't hear me because I was like, what the fuck is this? Like,
testing the YouTube algorithm here. Testing the YouTube algorithm here.
Well, it's funny because this patch was titled the Chaos one.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you don't realize it's Sonic themed, you don't picture that. You're just like, okay, Chaos, Castlevania, more Castlevania stuff. But then you actually get to it.
I saw the clip of like, you know, them showing it off or whatever, the trailer. And I saw
had I watched the trailer,
first thing I thought was the blocks were the Sonic blocks. So
yeah, had I watched the trailer, I probably would have put it together. But just reading the patch notes and not watching the trailer, I didn't connect it.
Right. Sonic, gotta go fast. We've had Mario, we've had Sonic, we've had vampires. Yeah.
And it's
Jake's
got
here.
Mario reference, right? Like you go to unlock a character, you find a coffin, and you defeat the monsters around the coffin, and it's like, we're sorry, the vampire's in another coffin.
Yep.
I laughed so hard the first time I saw that message.
So there's lots of fun stuff in this game, lots of little nods that you'll come across, and sometimes it'll just be the characters. You'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. And sometimes it'll be a little location or an item or flavor text or whatever. There's lots of little nods in this game to discover. We've barely scratched the surface on it with this episode.
Jake's trying to throw shade at us here.
Apparently there's a bridge we're driving under because the trolls are coming out.
We probably deserve the shade.
Probably. Well, guys.
Yeah.
This is I'm itching. I got the itch.
Yeah, me too.
Wrap it up, B. I gotta go.
Werewolves playing Vampire Survivors, by the way.
I keep picking that button just to make that pop up for you. Just my own little bit of joy right here. Click.
Yeah.
Well played.
Excellent.
All righty. Well, I think we are safe to wrap this episode up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other closing sentiments about the game?
Play it Play
Yeah.
it. Give it
Yeah.
more. Give it
Yeah.
more than 10 minutes.
It's-
Just let the game wash over you.
It's worth the
You'll-
$5 to $8 or whatever to include the game and the DLC. It's worth it. You will
Yeah, we
get
didn't even talk about the DLC,
yeah.
and that's okay.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like the patch adds just as much content as the DLC did, honestly. But
Mm.
We'll let you discover the DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but there's plenty to discover and experience in this game for what seems like a very simple concept. There's a lot to do
Mhm.
and quite a bit of enjoyment to be had.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
for most people, I would say it's worth playing. And if you don't enjoy it, you're only out a couple bucks. Or if you want to just dip your toe in it, get it on mobile, on phone, like Android or iPhone. It's free to play. I think it's a freemium thing on there, right?
Yeah.
Not sure how he did it, but yeah, you don't have to pay for it on your phone. So give it a test run at least.
Yeah.
Or Game
Get a
Pass.
Steam Deck
There's options.
and spend the $2 and buy the dang thing.
Yeah, spend the $450 to spend the $3.
Awesome.
You gotta have the keys to drive the car, man. All right.
Yeah. All right.
keys are cheaper in the
car. Everybody listening, go ahead and if you're not listening or watching us on YouTube, come check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/@pressb to cancel. Come check out our Discord. We're pretty active in there a lot. So when people start chatting, it doesn't shut off for a while. We have very busy days in there. So come join the conversation. Poke fun at us.
Terrible.
We have
I'm terrible.
What's up?
we have one more item of business before we close
What's
out.
that? Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I'm sorry. Wow, I
Oh yeah.
spaced on that.
I keep forgetting.
Do you want me to give the description, or you want to give the description?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay. So we're going to give the description probably at least a couple more podcasts just for those catching up. We are trying to compile a top 100 list of games up through 2005. It is our retro list, top 100 list. And each episode, the hosts are going to nominate one game. It will be a ranked set at the end. So we may actually end up nominating more than 100, but we'll rank them and they'll fall out into our 1 through 100. So, you all have Chard, Wolf, you all have your nominees for this one?
I'll go first because I do have one.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting, but I come up with these things on the spot. You ready?
Yeah.
To coincide with this episode, my selection for today's episode is Castlevania. Yes, that's right. The NES Castlevania, the original, the very first one. Castlevania created things all the way up into Vampire Survivors. There's not a lot out there that Konami hasn't used Castlevania to spin this vicarious web over everything else, and anything synonymous. Castlevania is part of the whole thing. Hell, it's got its own anime that my wife actually likes, and she doesn't like animes. So if my wife likes something, then it must belong in a top 100 somewhere. So I'm going with the original NES Castlevania 1 as one of my top 100.
All right. I guess I'll go next. So my nomination, this is a game that would have been on the list for me anyway, but since Sinstress is here and it is one of her absolute favorite games, I have a visual aid.
Visage?
Diablo 2. Diablo 2.
Oh,
It's a pretty good
that
choice.
game is still being played to this day.
Yes.
Good choice.
Diablo 1 really kind of, there were isometric, RPGs, but it really kind of brought in the click and kill. And then Diablo 2 took that to the level where it needed to be. So Diablo 2 is the kind of the epitome, I feel, of the click and kill RPG.
That's what
I love
every
that game
Diablo
so
player's
much.
house sounds like.
So much.
That's what every Diablo player's house sounds like.
Exactly.
My buddy that I literally have known my entire life, my mother, his mother were good friends growing up, and then they had us, of course, several times. He still plays the original Diablo 2 and still asks me, hey, when are we getting Getter to play this game? And I'm like, bruh, it's been years.
Yep.
Find a new game, my dude. Jesus. No, he loves it.
But
He
it's so
absolutely
good.
wants
Sorry.
the game. No, it is good. It is good.
Mhm.
But find a new game.
All
All right.
right. I
Yeah.
am going to recommend Toe Jam and Earl for the Sega Genesis.
Oh,
or Mega
yeah.
Drive, depending on where you're from.
Let's
Toe Jam and Earl and it's funny, I loved this game from the first time I played it. The game has so much charm, great sense of humor, right? But it's also got tons of exploration. It gives you that roguelite itch well before there was ever a term for it, because it does randomize levels, randomize presence. You don't know what they're going to be. It can get swapped on you mid-game if you mess up. There's 25 stages to every run, and there is just sometimes you have good runs, sometimes you have bad runs, but if you play with a friend, you're bound to have a good time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
What a
Very
great choice.
cool.
And they did a re-release,
The
Toe
music.
Jam and Earl, with the sale.
Back in the
music
groove.
yeah. We
Yeah,
actually
those
we got to
original
play that
tracks.
for a charity. Yeah, that's incredible. And the re-release was equally as good as the originals. So I second that 100%. I love that game.
Nice.
Oh, that bass line when you start that game.
Yep.
Oh, the music in that game is so top tier.
That is probably one of the games that made the best use of the Genesis sound chip.
Hell yeah. God, now I want to listen to that soundtrack.
And I mean,
It's
the
so
moments you
90s hip
have
hop.
in
I
that game,
fucking love it.
there's things I've only seen a couple of times with the amount of time I've played that game, and I still remember the first time I saw one in particular. I was playing this with my cousin. It was at his place. It was the first time I'd ever played it, and we're a few hours deep in our play, right? And we're both struck by Cupid separately, and we happen to come across each other, and the screens join back up, and they're both got the little hearts flowing over their head, and one's like, "I love you, Earl. I love you too, Toe Jam." It was just so far out of nowhere. You don't expect it.
It's
Nice.
Didn't the guy did all the work, I think, he did all the voice work during breaks at his real job, like in the bathroom at work.
Wow.
So like all the voices and stuff that he did, I've heard this. I've not read this for sure, but somebody was pretty adamant about it. Like he would go in and he would do the dentist last, like in the bathroom, and people are like, what is that guy doing in there? And then they turn, fucking love that game. That game is so good.
You just imagine hearing the guy in the bathroom, "Wake up, wake up, wake up!"
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
Boogie,
What's
boogie,
happening
boogie,
in
boogie.
there? Yeah, oogie boogie boogie boogie.
Good call. Good
Very
call.
nice.
So
Yes.
many
I love
good
'em.
sounds in that game. That's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Nice.
Hell yeah. I'll take
Awesome.
that one. I should badge that one. Sinistress, thank you
Yeah.
for joining us.
Thank
Yes,
again.
you.
thank you for joining us.
This was a blast. Thank you guys so much for having me again. It's always great to hang out with you guys.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
great to have you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for surviving the vampires with us.
Yes.
Yes. And dropping more goddamn knowledge on us about this.
Yep. Excellent.
All right. So, like I was saying before, please join the Discord. Check us out on YouTube or wherever you might listen to podcasts. If you are watching us on YouTube and you'd rather audio, those are an option. Where can people be found? Does anybody have anything they would like to shout out? Chard, you're streaming pretty regularly, right?
Yep, we're doing a mastered playthrough of Final Fantasy IV and the After Years on my channel right now.
So this is
The
Charged next
PSP
year.
one, right?
Yeah.
So this is literally 2023.
You
I will
are
be
not
playing
even.
anything. Yep.
When
Yeah.
I was there
And
earlier, you weren't even at 9%.
I've gotten 10 achievements a game. I'm not even like 20% into the achievement list.
Yep.
So
You were at 8-point-something% earlier when I was in your stream.
yep. And I get at least 3 achievements every boss fight. So,
Wow.
yeah, well, fasten your seatbelts. We're gonna be playing this quite a while. But Final Fantasy IV is a great game. It's just when we
Yeah.
get to the after years is when you're going to see a different side of Chard. No, you're going to see the same side of Chardmark. It's going to be just as loud and just as angry. So, huzzah!
Can't be as bad as 8, right?
Nothing
I
is
hope
as bad
not.
as 8 in Chardmark.
That is the bar. I mean,
Yeah.
that is essentially the bar. So,
And Sinistar, you've been playing Chrono Trigger.
I am back to streaming. I think I am officially calling myself back. Monday evenings, US evenings. So whatever time zone you're in, hopefully you'll join me. I am currently working through my Sisyphean game for 2023, which is Chrono Trigger. And then I am coming up with a list of retro games, and I'm kind of going to stick to DOS and Amiga and stuff that you don't see a ton of on Twitch to kind of bring that to Twitch.
nice.
Sounds neat.
You're going to get me that itch to
All
go play
right.
King's Quest. We've
Yeah,
been
probably.
talking about it. On it.
Probably.
Now, hopefully, once I'm done with Vampire Survivors completely, I'll start my Final Fantasy VI run and get that going up on YouTube.
There you go.
So never.
No, I told you I'm seeing it wind down. I only got 7 achievements left, dude. Come on. That's like a week top.
For this week until the next patch. God damn.
Nah, he's not patching it that fast.
And Sinstress, what have you
Just
been
one
playing?
more game.
What have you been
Just one
playing?
more
What do you
game.
have to talk about? What do you want to share? Anything?
Yeah.
I have been playing the last few days Vampire Survivors because I, like Werewolf, wanted to see if I could maybe knock it out before this happened. And then, other than that, I've been playing Disney Dreamlight Valley and some
I saw that.
RimWorld and some stuff. Yeah, I'm enjoying the Disney Dreamlight Valley. It's super.
It's basically Disney Stardew Valley, right?
Sort of. It's yeah. That's a really good way to describe it, but with more like procedural quest lines instead of just like, fetch and grab. You have to,
Right.
we'll go collect this and now take it to this person and now you need to go do this with it, and then you have to. So I mean, it's multiple stages. And like this last one that I did, actually you had to do different things over the course of a day, so it's not as fast as a lot of the games, but it's still like you can go really hard if you want to. You could play it casually. There's just it's Sinistar would hate this game because there's a lot of repetitive collection and doing over things, and he hates that stuff. And I enjoy
He's
it.
the aforementioned picky bitch.
He is my
Does
picky
it-
bitch.
Does it feel more like Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing?
That's what she told me.
feels
It was a mixture of both.
more like Animal Crossing if I had to
I
choose
would
between the
lose
two.
interest quickly.
Yeah.
I'd jump into it hard and fall off just as hard a couple
Mhm.
weeks later.
Mhm.
Hey, I got
Vampire Survivors.
a couple good months out of Animal Crossing in 2020 when like everything
I
shut
got
down.
1, maybe 2.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Rogue's still playing that shit. But she makes her house and then she complains. There's people on my island. Sorry.
All
My
right.
woman's an old hermit. What can I say?
All right. I think we are safe to wrap it up. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
All righty. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Our podcast is in another week.
Funny